Welcome to Let's Get Tender, Money Conversations That Matter, a video podcast series with certified money coach Marlene Elizabeth, with amazing weekly guests who share their inner challenges, personal triumphs, and inside tips and strategies so you can prosper, lead, and love bravely in business and life. So get comfy and get ready to grow money wings.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Let's Get Tender, Money Conversations That Matter. I'm your host, Marlene Elizabeth, and I put this podcast video series together as a way to empower you as a female entrepreneur to move beyond your money blocks that might be preventing you from achieving the financial success that you dream of, and be able to really start growing your money wings, really start expanding that financial potential within yourself that you were born to experience in this life, but may not actually be doing that. And so in this series, I always welcome guest experts, influencers, women who are really, really thriving in their businesses and in their relationship to money. And so these conversations are all about kind of having this very special time to kind of link arms together and see how we can be supportive to one another. And so in today's episode, I'm very, very excited to introduce you to Miss Amy Cheryl. Welcome to the show, Amy.
Thank you, Marlene. It is such a pure joy to be here with you. Thank you for inviting me and having me be here with your peeps.
Oh, I'm so excited. And I love that you're bringing this fresh outdoor background to us. So I love this. So thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
So Amy, before we get started, what I'd like to do is just share with our listeners a little bit about you, a little bit about your story. So Amy is the founder and creatrix of Women's Worth Academy, and she's a modern day medicine woman. She provides the safe, sacred, transformational space for deep healing that's really, really important as a way to come home to your throne as the queen that you inherently are. Amy has shared the stage with global leaders such as Marianne Williamson and touches hearts with her deep spiritual women's wisdom, her teachings, and all of her inspiration. She is the embodiment of her message, and she has been invited to speaking events all over the US, including Dubai, and she's been published and featured in a plethora of media. So I am just so honored again, Amy, to have you here today.
I really feel that. Thank you so much. And it's really very special, beyond words, to have this time with everyone today. And for those that will be receiving what can support them and help them to grow their money wings and fly. And right before our call, I saw this beautiful, huge yellow swallowtail butterfly that flew in. So we're supported and spreading our wings as we're meant to as women. So thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. So Amy, one of the questions that I love to ask right from the start, because really knowing our money story is so important, right? It's kind of that first step in building a healthy relationship to money. So the question that I love to start with is, what is your first memory of money?
Yes. I always see what comes through, right? And the same memory kept coming through whenever I dropped in. And that memory was when I was 11, 12, I was in 7th grade. And even as I speak about it, I can clearly see the vision. And again, no fault to my mother, love my mother, and the story that I remember around money was when we were going shopping together. And this is the early 80s, so I'm dating myself, okay? And I remember like Jordache pinstripe jeans were really popular back then. And that was important to me. I had this thing where I really wanted them for me. It made me feel joyful. I wanted these pinstripe jeans. And my mother wanted to buy me the Levi's, and I clearly remember the Levi's were $20, and the Jordache designer jeans, at least were designer back then, they were $40. Now designer jeans are like hundreds of dollars, right? And I remember it was like a whole issue, and my mother didn't see the importance of. And we had the money. It wasn't that and that's the thing. We had the money. It wasn't that the money wasn't there, you know. And it wasn't about me taking advantage. It wasn't any of that. It wasn't. It was just like, this was important to me. And I remember it became a thing. And my mother's like, well, if you want them, which was actually very fair. She's like, if you want them, I'll put in the $20 and you cover the other 20. I'm not going to cover for your, that's not important to me. So I'm not going to pay for that. And I was babysitting at the time. I had the money and I had no issue with it. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And I remember my mother was surprised, as if like that was offered, perhaps thinking I wouldn't take up on that, And my memory, the reason I bring that up is that I remember like innately, things that were important to me, I never had a problem investing in. Yet the imprinting that was put on me, and I felt shamed. I felt like I was being denied. I felt that I wasn't being respected. Like, not that I wasn't being respected, that what was important to me wasn't being respected. And that I could feel the tears of how it molded me. It was such a traumatic experience for me, because that wasn't the first memory around things that I was drawn to, things that I liked, things that I desired, that just made me happy, were made wrong in my upbringing based on their beliefs, because it wasn't important to them. So they weren't able to honor it for me. And it created a lot of trauma and deeper worthiness issues at the time of what's important to me doesn't matter. And a lot of it had to do with what I enjoyed were a little more high quality things that required more money to receive them.
This is such a great example, Amy. Oh my goodness, it's such a rich, rich example, because one of the things I want to say right from the get-go is that by the work that you do, which we'll learn a little bit more toward the end of the show, but you bring this real feminine energy back into the world. Your whole work is around helping women reconnect with their feminine energy, their feminine spirit, which is a very healing component for our world and our planet. And when I think of Jordache jeans versus Levi jeans,
yeah,
feminine and the masculine, right?
Like, oh my God. Yeah, I never even saw that before. I did. They were the, yes, not the functional. They were the pretty. They were all the girly. Yes.
Right.
Great awareness. I didn't even make that connection.
Yeah. I just see it's like back then you were stepping and just being in that feminine, right? And, I think the other thing that really comes through too for me is seeing how, because see, I'm a mom of 11-year-old daughter, soon to be 12 in just 3 weeks, right?
Oh.
So I can kind of imagine myself with her, that if she has something that's really important to her, let's just say, like one day she wants to work with animals and dogs, that if I don't somehow do something in my actions or in my words in not partnering with her in it, I can see how that would really make her feel kind of alone. And maybe, like you said, ashamed, to that level of shame and what's wrong with me, that's important to me, maybe it shouldn't be, kind of thing. I can really see how that can open up that door. So, and it's like sometimes the things that happen in these small moments become kind of really big in our life. And so I really love this beautiful example, especially because how it really it shows how it's connected to what you're doing now in the world. It's kind of like your purpose, right? And we want to be linked arm in arm with those that we love. We want them to be we don't want to go alone with it, but we will if we have to, but we don't want to, So I love this example. So building on that, Amy, kind of in opening that door about how then limiting beliefs around money start to form. It really kind of opens that understanding of seeing this is kind of how they form, the early experiences that we have. So would you say that there's one core limiting money belief that stands out for you that kind of really kept coming up again and again for you, preventing you from achieving your financial potential.
Let me really read into that. What I came to realize, and it was a huge breakthrough for me, and it shifted everything, was that a lot of the limiting belief systems, belief stories, they weren't mine. They were beliefs that were imprinted into me, or that I was carrying. You know, I do a lot of my work in healing is the ancestral line, and in that teaching, what we carry mentally and emotionally very often can be our parents and our grandparents. We carry the burdens and the struggles and the pain that they could not heal or haven't healed in their lifetime, and if they're still alive in their lifetime, and we're carrying it for them to heal it. Like, they're looking to us to heal that. And my father grew up in the Depression. And so even though my family had money when I was born, you know, my father started to come into some, you know, and we were always provider family of three girls, you know, it was always like, do you need that? Do you need that? And my natural nature, and our nature when we speak of allowing ourselves to thrive as a woman, isn't about, do we need that? Like, do you know, it was, do you really need that? That was the piece. Do you really need that? And it's not about need. It's about what brings us joy and what we desire. That and it's not, do I really need that? Like, it kind of bleeds into that whole place of restriction, of denial, of like questioning what, you know, as opposed to the permission, the allowance to be supported. And I realized that with my father growing up in the Depression, it really deeply affected him. And he's all about savings, which is great. I'm grateful, you know, I'm grateful that like he's been smart, really smart with his money. Like, you know, I mean, so I'm going off in all different directions because there's so many, the belief system, I would say, that would create a lot of conflict within me because it wasn't true for me. And it goes back to the shame again of like, do you really need that? Do you really need that? And it was always around buying something or giving myself something. And it really, what shifted was when I realized it's not about, do I really need it? It's about what's going to help me to be able to be at my truest nature of joy and relaxation and receptivity. And I needed to not take on what wasn't mine anymore.
Beautiful. Yes.
And release that poverty consciousness that I was carrying, that was not mine to carry. And it was really affecting me.
Absolutely. This really illuminates what is, I think, a real common experience for many, not just women, but just in general in humanity, right? This kind of where our beliefs and our habits and our actions and our behaviors are more come from a spirit of lack rather than the abundance, you know?
Yes.
And this very profound experience of the Depression that just really sunk so deeply into the consciousness of it being the truth, where it really wasn't the truth. It was an experience and it was the economy, but it really wasn't the truth, because we are, you know, just all, you know, you're sitting out in nature. I mean, nature is a perfect example of all we have to do if we find ourselves in that lack mentality, that lack mindset. Just go out in nature and look at just how many different kinds of trees, flowers, insects, animals. I mean, just think of the abundance of variety, of richness just in nature alone. All the different
ways. And they don't worry.
And they don't worry. That's right.
They don't worry. Am I gonna, if I spread my wings, am I gonna have a place to land? Am I gonna fly? They don't worry. Oh, and there's the butterfly again, the swallowtail. If I fly too high, am I gonna lose altitude? Like, or if I fly too high, will a hawk come in and eat me? They don't. I really believe that it's the mental mind that creates so many of our disconnects.
Yes.
And like you said, we're always provided for when we believe we are. It's about trust. Do we truly trust ourselves, our decision making? Do we truly trust that we are always provided for and that our resource is never outside of us? It's never from any person, place, or thing. It comes from trusting that we're always well resourced. And nature shows us that we always have more than we need. We're never out of oxygen. We always have breath in our bodies, and I would say that there are so many lies and belief systems and around a misunderstanding of what money is. It's just the physical manifestation of an exchange of honoring services. And the more that we give ourselves whatever it is that we need to be thriving, to have more to give, we will, and we trust that we will always be given what we need so that we can be at our best selves. We are always well resourced. Yet I find that so many people, what the disconnect is they don't trust it. It's a belief, like I see it's belief of like spending money going out. It's not even if that's a lie. There's no such thing as spending. That it's about flow. It's about resourcing. I never say spending, I say investing, because everything's an investment. Am I investing in something that has a return that's going to make me better for myself and others? And if the answer is yes, I'm going for it. And it has never failed me yet. In fact, that's what keeps bringing in more abundance.
I was just, because this kind of segues into my next question. I was going to ask you, what are those brave steps that we can start taking to shift that mindset? And you've already kind of started talking a bit about that, right? That we just,
Yes.
it's more kind of in the being rather than the constant doing. It's really kind of cultivating that faith that we will be provided for. The opportunities will appear for us. And are there any other action steps?
Absolutely. I would say it is so important to never restrict your well-being. Whatever is needed for a sound mind, body, spirit, that is our highest priority as women, is to make ourselves first. Give ourselves what we need, whatever it is that we need. And it is not about investing in your business without investing in yourself. Because we as women, especially if we're entrepreneurs, everything comes from us. So if we're not making sure that we are fully supported to a point where our cup is overflowing in our emotional and mental well-being and making our healing path our highest priority, then we are not home to receive all the goodness in life that's waiting to be given to us. So a little tangible tip that I can offer that I have found really helped me was whenever because there's an acclimation and adjustment, in continuing to give ourselves what we need. And my self-care is much higher than my rent, because my primary home is my goddess temple. And then the home I live is my secondary home. So I always make sure that my highest priority, my home, is whatever it is that I need. I don't question it anymore. There are some weeks I need healing sessions every week. There are some weeks that, I don't wait till I get massages twice a week. I don't wait until I'm even half empty. The minute I start to feel I'm a little off, a little foggy, and even if I feel great, I get my massages. Even if I feel great, I get my healing session with my mentor, because it keeps me overflowing. So my tip that I'd love to offer that I have found really helps me and has helped a lot of clients, especially with bigger investments. Like, for example, I invested in my body because it was important to me to make me happy. And it was an $80,000 investment, and I'm not done yet. You know, I was heavy as a teenager. I had some excess skin. I'm in my 40s now. I lost my weight at 15. And I had this wake up call of realizing I still have like half my life left, and I don't want to live it with this excess skin that bothers me and makes me unhappy, even though no one else notices it. It doesn't matter. And by the time I turn around, it'll be around $100,000, which really people put a down payment on a home. You know what I mean? For more than that. And my point is that what helped me was, first of all, what is this? How is this supporting me? That's the first question. And is it supporting my well-being? And if the answer is yes, you go for it. I realized that I would wake up in the mirror every day and grab this excess skin and be like, I have the arm of a 60-year-old and I'm in my 40s. And it bothers me. And it doesn't matter what is important to somebody else or whether they're going to judge you or not. That's their thing. That's their preference. And I realized this is a worthy investment because I don't want to be waking up with this mental angst and this emotional upset and having this conversation and this story. If I was never heavy, I wouldn't have this excess skin, and it's only going to get worse. And it was taking up a lot of energy. And I'm worth more than that. And and I could do something about it. And, you know, and honestly, if the money wasn't sitting in the bank account, I would have made it happen. I've done it before, whatever that is. We can get loans, credit card, 0% interest. It's about making ourselves priority and making it happen. And then the second part of that tip. So the first one is this going to support my well-being for me? And if the answer is yes, then you go for it. It's a worthy investment because you're worthy, no matter what it is that's important to you. If it's important to you, it's important, period, end of statement. And you don't need to explain yourself to anybody. And then the other one is, if there's the mental mind still needs to get on board, the ego still needs to get on board. So this is my little secret, is you take whatever that investment is and you divide it by how many more years you think you're going to be on this planet. So let's say, oh no, my computer out. But just for example, let's say it's a $20,000 investment and you think you're going to be here for at least another 40 years. Divide the 20 grand by 40 years and it comes to pennies a day. And if you don't think you're worth pennies a day, then you really need some healing work. You know what I mean? Because people think nothing, look at our society. People think nothing of buying a home for $500,000, which is not even a lot these days, and getting a mortgage, which then actually you wind up paying $1 million for the home and having a 30-year investment, a 30-year payment to have a home. So look at our society. Look at what's considered normal. Yet if somebody wants to invest even $50,000 into their healing work or themselves or whatever is important to them, if it doesn't fit into the construct of what society says is normal, it's totally normal to invest $200,000 in college tuition. But, to invest $200,000 in our self-growth, in making sure that we're healthy and we're better for the planet and better for ourselves, that's something to our society, will say, oh, do you really need that? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So really daring to invest in yourself. And, and even if you take that step, because I noticed that let's just say we have been, doubting and saying, gosh, I don't have enough. And so then we just take the plunge and we do it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly believe that you're right. The way will show itself for how we can raise the funds to do what it is that we need. It'll appear. There's no problem with that. What blocks it from appearing is our own self-doubt, even after maybe we've made the investment in ourselves.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
After we've made the investment and it's like, oh, and then that's when we then start, and then it starts that cycle. Oh, I knew I shouldn't have done that. And it's like, no. It's really keeping in that place and continuing to do what it takes to stay in that place of supporting yourself in the decisions that you make.
Yes.
And that really needs to involve being around others who are cheering you on, who are helping you to grow beyond the confines of what our mind limits us, So I love these brave action steps that you've shared with us, Amy.
Thank you.
So let me ask you now, Amy,
Yes.
in your, what do you now hold true as that you find is a really empowering money belief to have that really helps you in your life and in your business?
You will always have more than you need when you allow yourself to receive what you need. It all comes from our availability. Are we open? Are we available? Are we receptive to receiving? Do we feel worthy of receiving what it is that makes us feel good? We're not meant to feel bad. We're not meant to feel pain in our body. We're not meant to feel mental angst. If we're in struggle, we are choosing struggle. And we're not meant to do it alone. We are not meant to do it alone. We need support no matter how empowered we are. Like I said, I get 2 massages a week, and I pretty much get a weekly energy healing session. That's my base. And I have a full-time assistant for my company. Whatever, like, there's a level of being conscious. It's important to be conscious around your finances, yet don't be restrictive around not giving yourself what you need to be supported. Because if you're doing it alone and trying to do everything yourself and not hire out for the things you need, like hire a cleaning service. Don't be cleaning your home. You know what I mean? Even if you can do it yourself, you know, it's about the worthiness of our time. You know, like 5 hours to clean a home. If you can get someone for $20 an hour. Isn't $100 worth 5 hours of where you can utilize your time more efficiently?
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. Yes.
so it's really about letting go and not being not having so many constraints, because constraints are about worry and fear. Oh, that how lack thing that you spoke of. It's about opening up, trusting. You know, everything about feminine power is coming back to our true nature as women, our receptivity, being supported. And our primary job is to make sure that our cup is overflowing so that we're at our best selves to be home to receive all the goodness that's here for us. And then we're at our best for others. And then we have more to give to others. So then, you know, if we are an entrepreneur, then we're going to receive whatever we're available for. So if we're exhausted, the universe is not going to bring us a lot of clients because we're not really, what are we going to do for them? If we're running from exhausted energy, how is that serving the client? So it's about continuing to give ourselves what we need, trust that we will always have more than we need, never get too attached outside of relying that someone else is our resource. We are our own resource, and we can create whatever it is we need from our heart. What brings us joy, and create all our work from that. What brings us joy? What can we offer? And knowing that what we have to offer is worthy, and focusing on making sure that we are full and expanded so that the universe can give us more. Because the universe always works in our favor. The universe is never against us because the universe lives inside us and knows best.
Love it. So, Amy, as a business owner, as a female entrepreneur, are there lessons that you've learned, or even just one or two that you've learned by being in business that you find are also very helpful in applying to your relationship with money?
Yes, a couple of things. Great question, because I needed to learn this. One is, don't give your power away. Don't think that, like, oh my God, if I don't invest in this business program, then I'm going to fail. Nobody is your authority. Check in, get grounded, get centered. There's a difference between having nervous excitement because you're growing, that's a yes, versus incredible anxiety where you can't breathe because you're overextending yourself. All right, and that there's a learning curve in that. So it really end one step at a time. So what that means is, just because, you know, there's a lot out there now that's saying, you know, do this, do that. And it's like, there's a never ending, we need to pace as women. And we need to pace in our business, not do everything at once, not multitask. One step at a time, stay focused on the present moment, and get clear for yourself what brings you joy in your work. If it's not really joyful for you to be on a computer all day and running an online business, then don't do an online business, even though every Tom, Dick, and Harry is saying that's the only way to be successful. No, you create your own success. You create your own success and trust that. And it's important to get grounded and cleared. Make sure to meditate every morning, have your morning ritual, clear yourself so that you can make the decision and trust that there's no timeline. Let go of timelines. That crushes women in business. I need to do it all now. No, 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 no. You got to have a big life ahead of you. This is long term. That's the other thing that's helpful. Not to pigeonhole. Think long term. Just like people buy a home and don't freak out that they just invested $1 million over a 30-year mortgage. Because they're like, oh, I'll pay it off over 30 years and then this is what I'll have for the rest of my life. Start thinking bigger picture. Is this a worthy investment that I can pay off over long term that will benefit what I desire to create and have for myself? And if the answer is yes, then relax into that. And get true for yourself on the piece in your business that you want to focus on, and give yourself a good 6 months to a year. Give yourself more time than you think you need in your day, in your creations, so that because the minute that we are like rushed, also we get all wonky as women, right?
Right.
Like, we need space. We need to be grounded. We need nature. Nature is very spacious. Oxygen. So make sure we give that to ourselves so we can flourish. Otherwise we will suffocate ourselves.
Oh, I just love this. I love these tips because they truly are coming from more of a feminine place. And I feel that part of these conversations is about infusing the feminine back into our relationship with money. First of all, it makes much more sense when you're a female managing that money. But it's also good for the whole planet, right? We need each other. We need both energies when it comes to managing our relationship to money. And this is just beautiful. So Amy, let me ask you then, as we kind of wind up our interview, is there anything like financial wisdom that you know now that's true that you wish maybe someone would have whispered in your ear way back when?
It's so interesting because what I keep getting is it keeps coming back home to trusting yourself. And when I look back, there's a balance. There is a balance of being able to have consciousness around money. I find a lot of people, and I did this myself, and it did get me in a lot of hot water financially. I wasn't always financially abundant. I was well on the other side. Like, there was a time I couldn't even pay my rent. So I know what it's like to be in financial struggle. And that was a gift. I needed to go through that to get to the core beliefs of what was keeping me from abundance, So those painful times in my life, those financial struggles actually were my greatest teachers, because it brought up why there was a disconnect. And to not be afraid of making relationship with money. Money is not a bad thing. It's something, it's a resource. It's like good food. Anything that helps us to be nourished, to be nurtured, to be supported. And I would say that if I looked back, there was a time when I kind of like didn't even want to look at my money, and didn't even want to look at investments, and didn't even want to look at anything that was of money, because I had a belief system that anything, like, it was just all this stuff that was connected to me not being in healthy relationship with the masculine. And I kind of put that in the box of like, money is the masculine type of thing. It's not. It's also very feminine. And the tangible tip I would say is, don't run from making relationship with money, because when you make relationship with money, you're making relationship with the earth, with nature, with who we are as women, our true nature. And then we open up that root chakra of consciousness, of faith versus fear, consciousness versus unconsciousness, connection versus disconnect. And we get more, the more rooted we get, and the deeper we come into a relationship with money and looking at it, not being afraid of it, but really like loving it, like being like, this is great, like this is my best friend, and respecting it, and knowing that it's always there for us. It changes everything. And then having a level of smarts, like, okay, I am worthy of putting aside money for vacation. I'm worthy of putting aside money for my retirement. Like, start putting aside money for retirement today, even a little bit at a time. I am so grateful and so fortunate that in my 20s, I was not doing that. And because my father was so much about, saving, make sure you're supported in your elderly years, he would take out of my inheritance and contribute into into my Roth IRA. I look back now and I'm so grateful that he actually did that for me. It was going to be my money anyway, you know what I mean? And that I had that opportunity, because I look back and I'm like, I wasn't doing that for myself back then. I am fortunate enough that I had a father that did that for me. Yet if I didn't, that would have been over $100,000 that I wouldn't have in my retirement today. So put aside in your retirement a little bit. Don't wait, because it adds up. And simultaneously give yourself what you need in the moment. So it's a balance. No restriction, but make relationship with money and use it to your advantage, to your support. And if you want to bring in more money, then go to the place of not how do I get more money? It's how do I offer something from my heart that brings me joy? And it's about knowing that your offering is worthy, and then put the right price tag on that. And when you build it, they will come. You build it, they will come. You can always create money for yourself when you're connected to what you have to offer is worthy.
What you've shared is just so gorgeous, because you've shared some financial wisdom from a spiritual level, right? And you've also shared financial wisdom from a practical level, which is so important, especially when you're talking about balance. We need both, right?
We need both. We live in both worlds. We're both spiritual and earthen, right?
Yep, absolutely. We have to have that reflection of what we feel spiritually reflected in the physical plane, right? We have to embody that, right? That helps us to live in alignment, where we feel so much more powerful when we're living in alignment. When what we believe is different from what we're living, it's a very painful place to be.
So painful. Oh,
yeah. Yeah. So being in that balance is so important. And the other piece that I really love what you share here is that the money exchange is simply about, it's a value exchange. When you were talking about the phenomenal amount of self-care that you allow yourself to have, well, a lot of that is because you're also delivering a massive amount of value to the world. And so the more value you're delivering to the world, the more self-care you need to be showing up at that really powerful place for other people. And then it just spreads. It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
So
it would be out of integrity. Like, I would not be of integrity if I wasn't making sure that I was overflowing and clear and clean, because I do healing work. I don't have I mean, I could have the option, but that would be a lack of integrity, not being of integrity, because then I can't hold a true clean healing space for the clients that come to me.
And as a result, they, I'm sure, experience quicker, faster results because
this.
Yes. So it's a win-win all the way around. And that's why when you were talking about time earlier, you're right. I mean, things can shift quickly, very powerfully. It reminds me like of perfume, I mean, it's potent. It's very potent. A little goes a long way, right? And time is the same way. But we have touched on so many things that I know we could just chat even more about here. But I know we've come to the end of our time. But before we wrap up, I would love for you to share, how can our viewers learn more about your work and find you online?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. And I would love to share, because it's my heart's work to bring women into their greatness and what's possible for them. And it is possible, because I know what it's like to be on the other side. And when one woman's done it, and I've worked with hundreds of women that have done it, it shows that it's possible for any of us. So yes, I actually created a special little gift for all your peeps. So if they were to go, and I know the link, you'll have it for them. It's http colon // this is getting long. It's the bit.ly link that it's then Free Gifts Amy Cheryl. I would say that link that you're going to have for them, that will take them over directly to receive. I have a couple of gifts I'd like to offer, which is I have a 4-part training video series that will help to heal the mental mind and eradicate the patriarchal program and really bring you into your feminine power. And it's like we're in our living room together for 4 days because they'll get daily videos, and then they'll have the opportunity to go deeper with me if they'd like. On that page also will be a link for anybody that would like to. I'm all about relationship and I go deep. Like when women work with me, they're gonna, if you're ready to like claim your throne and heal everything that's keeping you from that, then you want to do a consult call, because we could set up a call, we can do an exploration call, really see like where you're at. I like to customize and give women exactly what they need to get where they want to be. So that will be on the link that you'll have for them. And just so you ladies know, I have my Queen Initiation retreat. It's a wonderful 6-day immersion, and that is really true breakthrough. We could do private session work. I have sacred group monthly calls, a lot of different ways that we can work together. I do have online programs. And if you want to learn more about my offerings, you can just go right on my website, which is womensworthacademy.com. And then you can just kind of scroll through that and see the different possibilities, and we can set up an exploration call through that avenue. And if you just want to go ahead and email me and say, you know what, I'm really feeling something here and I'd like to talk to you more, you can just email me directly at amy@womensworthacademy.com. And we can, be in contact that way. So lots of ways we can be in contact, lots of different ways and all different price points, so you can meet each other where you want to go, for ways that you can really step into your greatness as a woman and receive all that you want. And remember, if you're an entrepreneur, your business comes from you. So we want to lay the foundation so that you can receive, because your business is a birthing from yourself. So those are the different ways that you can just get right on my website at womensworthacademy.com. You can email me directly at amy@womensworthacademy.com. You can click on the link below. That's going to take you to some links where you can click on that free gift training video, or just sign up for a consult call with me right away, and lots of delicious next steps.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Amy, again, for being here today and just bringing your beautiful self to this conversation. It's a very powerful and important conversation for our viewers. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, everyone. And again, thank you so much, Amy.
Thank you so much for having me. It was just a pure joy.